Katlyn, how's fight week going so far?
Really good. I'm happy to be here in Miami, where it's a little bit warmer than New York. Yeah, everything's good.
I just want to ask off the top, you're being billed with a different last name, but you were married, was it a few years ago you guys got married, or was it, yeah?
Yeah, I've been married for like about 5 years, and I changed my name right away. But I never, legally it was Cerminara, and I just never changed it for the UFC. One, because I have like so many Armenian fans, and they've always been like so supportive, so I always kind of felt like bad taking away my Armenian name because of that. And I just thought it was less confusing, but it ended up being like more confusing because all my legal stuff is Cerminara, and you know, I didn't want anyone to think I was like an extreme feminist or something, not changing my name. So I was like, no, I'm Cerminara. That's who I am legally and everything. So I wanted to keep it that.
Yeah, so technically the same last name, but different last name to the fans, but I'm sure the goal kind of remains the same for you on Saturday. Maycee Barber is the task. I guess, how'd you prepare for this one, and I guess what do you kind of expect out of her?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this fight. I've known about it for a long time. Originally it was supposed to be like December, and then it got kind of pushed back a little bit. I think she had some injuries. Then it got pushed back to January, March. Just, sometimes the location and everything. So I kind of feel like I had two camps for this because I've known about it for so long. So definitely when they would switch the dates back, it would be a little frustrating, but super prepared because I've had so much time and, thought about it so much. But Maycee is a great opponent. A lot of people know her and are excited to see her fight. She comes forward, she's aggressive, and she's definitely game. So I think it's our styles together is going to be for a really good fight.
Yeah, what do you make of her recent stretch of success, right? Because she kind of came in, she had a lot of hype, she had some ups and downs, and now she seems like she's really found her stride. So do you feel like with where things stand right now, she's one of the better fighters in this division?
I used to kind of not. I thought she was a little overhyped, before. It's sometimes it's easy to get, have great performances when you're fighting lower ranked opponents, but you have to. It's not her fault. You have to start somewhere. But and I wasn't like overly impressed. I thought she was good, but not crazy. But her last performance against Amanda Ribas, I thought was very impressive, and so maybe she like hit another peak and. She's so young, so you never know what's going to come out of fighters, as our career is still building. But her last performance I thought was really good, so that's kind of the type of opponent that I'm expecting.
Yeah, and she was in here earlier, and she kind of talked about how she felt like you were kind of the gatekeeper to the champion. So I guess for you, and she was also saying, she predicts that she's going to finish you and get a title shot. And so I guess where do you kind of feel like a win over her would get you as somebody that's been like right there near the champion for so long?
Yeah, I think I'm where I am now. I mean, I think I'm ranked number 4. I've been in the top 5 pretty much most of my career. I've only ever fought top 10 opponents except for maybe 1 or 2 of my fights. So I don't know like many fighters, guy or girl, that's been in the top 5 for 6 years. But I think that I'm always kind of 1 or 2 good fights away from a title shot. So maybe if I get a good win here and then one more, then the conversation could come up a bit. There's just so many new faces in the division, which is awesome. It's really exciting. And, it depends how matchups happen, injuries and, rematches and everything. So we'll see. But I think, if I had 2 good wins, I could be in the conversation for that again.
Is it kind of interesting? Because, Erin Blanchfield and you are pretty close, right? So I guess, what have you made of her success? And is it awkward at all to have somebody that you're friendly with like that kind of right next to you in the rankings?
Not so much. I mean, I've known Erin for years. We've trained together a little bit, not different teams, but we've sparred together over the years. I kind of always knew she was younger, so I just always knew it was like a matter of time till she would be, in the UFC and definitely top. I think she's really good. So, no, it's not awkward. Luckily I've trained with so many guys in the UFC, like guys that were like really close and were full-time training partners, and then watching them get to the top. I saw like Frankie and Marlon, and I've seen that, and it's so many things have to happen for people to fight each other. So to like avoid training partners just because you might fight each other, I think it's kind of silly. But yeah, I'm not surprised, and it's not awkward. It's all business.
Kind of going off of that, I remember one press conference, I think the phrase was, you didn't know you could say no to fights.
Yeah.
You just kind of accepted them as they came. Is that still the mindset at this point in your career, or are you looking for like these fights that will kind of strategically get you to the title?
Yeah, I think being number 4, like any fight kind of puts you, any fight you're kind of going to get is going to put you, a good performance is going to put you up there. So, yeah, I mean, just any fight they give me. It's, like I said, if you're in the top 5, every fight's really meaningful towards, like, getting a title shot.
And I think I saw on your Instagram you did some training in Denver, too, with Tisha and Raquel. So what was that like, training with the champion?
Yeah, that was really good. That was there the week before Raquel's fight, so I only got to train with her a little bit. But, I haven't fought in a year and a half, so I just kind of wanted to – I don't train with a lot of girls, especially like high-level girls. So I kind of wanted just to go out there. I knew there was a bunch of girls there and just kind of, use it. Like where I go into their gyms, they have coaches. I had no one with me. And I'm going not knowing what to expect and sparring and getting different looks from different high-level girls. Kind of treating it almost like a scrimmage, just because I hadn't fought in so long. So it was amazing there. I loved everyone I trained with. I trained a lot with Miranda Maverick, Rose Namajunas, Raquel, and Tisha were there. So, I had a really good experience there. There were so many fighters, and it definitely helped.
Is that something you'll look to do more? Because like you said, you did that because you hadn't fought in a while. But now that you're back fighting again, will you still try to kind of bounce around a bit while still maintaining your home base in like back east?
Yeah, I mean, I'll always keep like my home base where it is. But I think like in between fights and stuff, it's nice to travel with different people. I made some like good relationships with other girl fighters there. So maybe we could like back and forth bounce for a little bit if I need to. But yeah, I like it.
And the last one for me, can I get your thoughts on the main event between Sean and Cheeto?
I mean, I go back and forth. I think one week I'm like, oh, Cheeto's going to win. And then the next week I'm like, I don't know, O'Malley's going to win. But I don't know. The last 2 weeks I've been kind of going more towards O'Malley. But I wouldn't be surprised how the fight would go either way.
Katlyn, right here, you're right. You did an interview, I think even last summer at UFCX, where you said some of the time away was just getting some nagging injuries under control. So I'm wondering if you can just kind of shed some light onto what it was that was bothering you.
Actually, so for the past year, I've been going through fertility treatments. And, it's been a long year. That's kind of why I thought I was going to be taking off from fighting a little bit longer. But, for the last year, I went through like 3 full rounds of IVF. And I had 2 miscarriages. And, it's been a tough year. But I wanted to take a break from that, not just mentally, but physically. And going through fertility is so hard. It's so hard that I'm taking a fight to take a mental and physical break from fertility treatments. I'm taking a fight because this is way, way easier than dealing with that. And, it's a shame because unfortunately I know so many people that are going through this right now. I have just my friends alone, my close friends are dealing with this. And you hear it, but people don't talk about it because it's like, it's very personal and it's hard to talk about. But it's really hard and there's so many people going through that. And it's the amount of like mental and physical strain you put on yourself, doing like 4 to 8 hormone injections a day, back to back, not just the mental load, but the physical load. In the summer, I got up to like after I had my second miscarriage and I was 170 pounds and from all like the hormones and everything. So, taking this fight wasn't just, okay, here's a camp, let's get in shape. It was dealing with the mental load of that, getting over that, and then it's like, okay, well now I'm already big for 125, so now I'm even bigger. So I had to kind of reset my body, and I needed that little bit of extra time to get back into fight shape, But the second time I found out, I was like, that night I went to the doctor's office. They got the bad news, and then that night my manager happened to be in Manhattan. We went for dinner, and I was like, okay, I need to get a fight. I just wanted a little mental break and something positive. I love fighting so much, and it's kind of like all I know. when I'm not fighting, it's like, oh, I have to go into the real world and like have real world-ish problems, and those are really hard to deal with. But taking this break and focusing on fighting has been a nice relief from the stress that I've had the past year. But yeah, like I said, people always like, oh, you're a fighter. That's so hard. How do you do that? Train all the time. I'm telling that dealing with this is my mental and physical break from fertility treatments. And there's just so many people out there that, I'm fortunate enough where I had the opportunity to do treatments. So many people don't even have that opportunity. So I'm not complaining. But if you're people that are going through that, it's definitely really, really, really tough. And they're like way stronger than any of us up here doing fighting.
Condolences, first of all. And
Thank you.
I guess my only other question then is with the time off, just as it pertains to the fight, I know you're taking it as a distraction, but is there any concern on the ring rust front because you haven't been in a live fight?
Absolutely not. Like, I have been fighting my whole life. I've done it all the time. I mean, it's the same. I knew that I was like, oh, that people always talk about ring rust and all that. But one, I've been training for this fight since September. So it's been a long time. And I've trained so much over the years that taking like a little bit of time off is probably better for me. And I'm never away from the sport, even in between treatments and stuff. If I had like 2 weeks where I could train, I was training every day. And I think a lot goes to be said, like, I'm on the mats all the time. I teach women's jiu-jitsu at my gym, Vanguard Academy. And then my husband teaches wrestling, youth wrestling. I'm there assisting him every day. I'm a huge fan of UFC. Like, I watch every single fight. Saturday, early prelims to main event. I'm watching every fight. And I think that even just watching it, it's a lot that you're still gaining, even though you're not training. And, to get back into it, I competed at the ADCC trials in I think October, just to kind of get in there, and then traveling to Denver, putting myself out there. I did a few other things that I don't normally do, just to kind of do like a baby step towards fighting, just to make sure that ring rust wasn't an issue. And then I remember my first sparring session, I was like, oh, people talk about ring rust. And then the bell rang, we threw one jab. I was like, oh no, it's fine. Nothing's changed. So if anything, I think the time off and like reflecting on like my development as a fighter and as an athlete, I think has been better because I've had time to look back and be like, oh, what are different changes I could do to get better? And I've implemented those in this camp, and I feel like I've just leveled up so much in this past camp.
Thank you.
Can I just one more? I know you said it was like a difficult thing to talk about, and even people close to you are going through it too. Do you think, like, not responsibility is not the word, but like you should openly talk about this more because so many people are going through this and just kind of keeping it in and struggling secretly and not expressing themselves?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, I've went back and forth, like, should I say something or should I just keep it private, say this? And I don't want to ever come across as someone that's, like, using my issues to, like, gain a platform. Like, because when people do that, that bothers me so much. But I do think that, like, even with, like, my friends and me being open about it, there were so many people that I would tell about it, and they're like, oh, you know what? I've been doing that the past year. And then we would talk about it, and it would feel good. I would go on social media and see women that would talk about it that I didn't know, and I'm like, okay, there's a lot. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a lot of people going through this, which can be comforting, but it's also, like, alarming that so many people my age are going through this. But yeah, I just think that just to kind of, like, show, like, everyone's going through it, and you don't know what they're going through, and I think it's just really alarming to me, the amount of people that are going through this. And, if I can, like, use my platform to just, even if someone sees this and is going through it and they're like, oh, damn, because most people that are going through it, they keep it like a secret. And, it's just, you're not, like, everyone's going through it and it sucks. But when I hear other stories of people going through it, it kind of makes me feel better. And I see different things that other people are doing, and I just think it's helpful. So if I can, like, help anyone or make one person feel like, oh, okay, cool, like, other people are going through this too, then it's worth it. Yep. Thank you.